Hey guys, welcome to Lunch with Lee. Today we talk about something that's a very, very common question, which is I can't get the pilot lit on my fireplace. If you have a set of gas logs that has a remote, or if you have a gas only fireplace, it's quite common to have a pilot. And occasionally you have to relight that. How do you do it? Which ones, what do you do? How do you make this work? So that's what we're going to discuss on this episode. Pilots. Now, how do you light one? And that's sort of a trick question. You've heard me talk about this many, many times before, which is it depends on the type of gas log set or fireplace that you have. So one of them, if you always have a little tiny flame in there all the time, that's called a standing pilot, meaning it stays on all the time. And then when you click the button on the remote or flip the wall switch, the gas comes on and that little flame lights the gas and it lights. It's called a standing pilot. On most standing pilots, the procedure is the same, slightly different, but the same, which is there'll be a little knob that has on, pilot, and off. The first thing you want to do is turn that. There'll be a little indicator, a little nick, where you turn the valve, the little knob to pilot, and you'll push that valve in. If you're in the wrong spot, you won't be able to push it in. If you're on or off, you won't pull it in. So if you literally push that knob in and spin it, when you get to pilot, you will feel it go in. That's going to start gas to the actual pilot assembly. Once that gas is on, there's usually a little red button or it can be a different thing, but it goes click, 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 you push it, it's sending sparks to that pilot and it will light that pilot. Or in some cases, you'll have to actually have a match or a lighter and you'll light it on certain types of fireplaces or gas log sets. Sometimes you have to actually manually light it, but most, especially the gas appliances, the gas fireplaces, you'll have a little ignition button. So click, 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 it will light. And then a lot of customers will then go, cool, it's lit, and let your thumb off and it will go immediately out. The reason for that is there's a mechanism in there that will heat up. And that is the safety feature to tell the valve to keep the pilot on. So what you need to do is after you light it, whether through the push button or through a match or something else, you want to hold your thumb on it until it warms up. Now, how long that takes, everyone's slightly different. 60 seconds is about average. Often you'll hear me say all the time, I hold it till my thumb hurts. If you take your finger off and it immediately goes out, that means you're not patient enough. So start the process again. Now, if you hold it for like 2 minutes and it still doesn't light, something's wrong. There could be a part that needs to be replaced, and there's piles and couples, there's little electrical sensor things that occasionally get old and don't send off enough electricity, and you have to change those out. So it is not uncommon at all to have, especially if you're at 15, 20, 25 years, that part will have to be changed out. But that's the procedure to go through to light a pilot is that. Turn it to pilot, push it in, hit the ignition, provide a spark somehow, it lights, hold it down for at least 60 seconds, if not more, let your finger off. If it stays lit, then you are good to go. You'll turn the knob from pilot to on. And if you turn it the wrong way to off, the pilot will go off again. But you'll turn it to on. And then you can use that wall switch, the remote control, and it should come off and on, off and on, off and on. Now, there is maintenance that goes into these pilots, the thing that you're lighting. Cleaning them up, everything else, that's something that you should do once a year. And it will make that part last longer and it will be more reliable in general. Now, another thing that can happen, and we get this all the time, is if you haven't used your fireplace for a long time, a lot of times you will push that button for the pilot to send the gas to the pilot, and it's not going to send gas. There's going to be air in the line, and it's going to send just air through the line. And the more you ignite it, it's not going to ignite air. You have to wait for that air to get out and the gas to come out before it will ignite. So it's not uncommon for us to have to be patient with it. And if you're not comfortable with any of this, call us. We'll be happy to take care of you. And we'll be happy to light the pilot and do the proper maintenance. And just to use the fireplace in general, make sure that it's working correctly before you light it up. It's very, very important that you have it serviced regularly, which is for anything that's gas, pretty much once a year. We have NFI certified technicians. I'm one of them that can come out, that can service it. If there's anything wrong, we can make sure that that gets taken care of. So it's very, very important. That's lighting your pilot. There are electric ignition, that's what we call it, or IPI, intermittent pilot ignition systems, that are available as well, which that one you don't manually light. If you hit the wall switch, the remote, you'll hear it tick, 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 as it manually lights, and then the pilot will light, and then your main burner will light. And if those don't work, it's call somebody. Also with those, you need power. So if the power's out, they're not going to work. There is a battery backup. It's usually a little black bundle like this. You put two 9-volt or two D-cell batteries in them, and then the fireplace will work without power. That is available as well. During our freeze last winter, when everybody was out of power, that's what we taught people over and over and over again, how to use that battery backup. But you should really never use a fireplace unless you're 100% sure that it's not, that it's, you want to make sure it's working correctly. You want to make sure that as it vents to the outside, that everything's working correctly within it. And then it will not fail you on Christmas Eve or anything else, because it seems that's when we get the most calls, is when everybody wants to use a fireplace, whether it's cold or hot outside, and that's Houston, where it could be 80 degrees on Christmas Day. But you want to use that fireplace, and you're going to start it up. And if you haven't used it in 20, 30 years, or even 15, 20, and you magically expect it to just light up and work perfect after not being used forever, that's not going to happen. It's kind of like leaving a car for 10 years and expecting it to start right up the first time. It's just not going to happen. So give us a call, maintain it correctly. If you have questions, we have, what's it called? We have interactive meetings, virtual assessments. There you go. That's the word, on our website, where I can walk you through it, or someone else can walk you through it. And we can help you with these things, or preferably we can come out, we can service the fireplace, we can teach you everything you need to know, and we can tell you, and it's to take readings off the appliance and say, hey, look, this is working currently right now, but expect in the next year or two, it's starting to go downhill. You want to proactively change this out, or reactively when it stops working. So, and neither of those are necessarily bad. We kind of prefer proactive. That way it doesn't fail at the absolute worst time. And when it usually fails is when it's cold and everybody needs it, and then we can't get out there quickly. So light your pilots. If you have any problems, call us. We'll be happy to walk you through it. We'll be happy to come out and take a look at it, and we will make sure that you get taken care of, and anything you need will be taken care of. I appreciate it. That's all for today.